On October 1st, my wife and I and my sister and our little baby were in Dresden. We were on our way to Prague to spend the weekend with Shirley Temple Black. And it was my habit to always take a long walk in the evening. So we had dinner and I took a long walk and crossed the bridge over the Elbe. There were a lot of people, because it was a Sunday, there was a lot of people out. It turned out this was exactly the same day that the train carrying a lot of the people who had sought asylum in the West German embassy in Prague were brought through, and they came right through Dresden. The presumption was a lot of people were out, were sort of curious to see this whole event take place, and we're downtown in that area. While I was on the bridge, there was lots of people out on the bridge. And I looked over, and on the far side of the river, there was a road, and along that road came maybe 40 different trucks loaded with Volkspolizisten. And it looked quite clearly, they came up and they drove up into that area of the Semperoper and set up a base of operations. Obviously fearful that there might be some disturbances, too many people on the street or whatever it was. I don't pretend to know what was in their minds, but I watched that happen. I recall there was a young man who was with his wife, was walking along, and he looked down and he said, "God, that looks ugly." And that's all he said, "It looks ugly." But there was a certain crackle in the air, and I had been in South Africa just before, and I knew when demonstrations and people on the street were unhappy somehow, there's a crackle in the air, and it was there. And I went back and I told my family we're going back to Berlin immediately. And we did. But that incident struck me rather poignantly. And of course it happened right before the 40th anniversary of, celebrated the 40th anniversary, which is a very, very big affair for the government at that time. Of course, the next day, the traditional groups that had met in the church, they called it the Montag-Andacht, were larger in number. I don't know whether they were emboldened by what was going on or saw that maybe the police had not come down on them hard. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but it happened. And of course, a week later, the numbers increased absolutely dramatically. I think both in Dresden and Leipzig. I wasn't in those areas at that time, but the embassy had people out and they were reporting fully. At the same time, on that same 9th of October, I believe it was, there were many, many more groups in East Berlin. You could see them, little groups on the corners and things. They were very tentative, obviously afraid. They didn't know exactly what was going on.